Have you been waiting for me to share my energy protection spell that I am putting together today? That's coming up right after this. Hey everybody, it's Mel from Melsdivination. I'm the owner, the operator, and the creator here. And on Wednesdays, I share Witchy Wednesdays. On Fridays, we do Flip Through Fridays where I share my Lenormand and Oracle decks with you. Today is Wednesday, so we are going to go over a new spell that I am putting together. I'm sharing this with you guys because of a couple of things, but we've talked in the past about draining energy. We've also talked in the past about how I've been tired, and I recently just did a mental health I filmed a mental health video of awareness for you guys. I haven't posted it yet, so it'll probably come out this weekend, but I've been feeling extra drained lately, and as I posted in the community tab for people to vote, I'm trying to up my energy. I'm trying to up my energy. I'm trying to work on healing things and for myself and protect myself better because lately it's been feeling really exhausting. I'm burned out. I'm tired. I'm physically tired. I'm emotionally tired. I'm just tired. And the interesting thing is that as I'm filming this, Saturn has just gone into retrograde, I feel like it was like this week, I think it was. And it's going to stay in retrograde all the way until like mid to late October. And that Saturn energy can be very heavy. And when I'm talking to all of my friends that are energetic across the board, so we're talking tarot readers, we're talking mediums, we're talking empaths and Reiki healers and all different kinds of people, all right? And all over the country, not just people that live in my state, some in Florida, some in Maine, some in California, they're all over. They're all going through very similar symptoms that I seem to be having. So I think it is more of an energetic situation than a personal situation. I have my windows open because it is nice and breezy outside. If it wasn't so breezy, I'd film outside. But if you hear wind blowing, that's what's going on there. It is, so we're going to start this, what I'm doing right now for you guys, to be clear, is this, I'm going to do this in 2 steps. The way I'm going to share it to you with one full video, but I'm sharing the prep work, and then I'm going to share the actual, like, spell work, okay? So right now we're going to talk about the prep work. What I did was, and I did film also a health video too, but not mental health, but actual healing illness video. And while I was doing research around that, I came across a couple of spells, and I've talked about this book before, in my protection spell book, that they didn't really fit the illness I was working on. However, these 2 spells that I found, one is about defending your energy from being drained, and the very next one is a charm bag against fatigue, okay? And I'm going to go over these and exactly kind of how I'm tweaking them, but that's what I'm doing. I'm taking 2 spells out of this book, and I'm combining them and turning them into my own spell in its own way so that I can heal myself and defend my energy and protect myself more than I have in the past. What you need for ingredients, literally 2 things, only 2 things, but I'm going to be, like I said, increasing what I'm doing and I'm tweaking it to my own thing. So you need to do what fits for you, okay? The first spell calls for just a small clear quartz crystal. And I happened to have one. It could even be smaller than this, but this is one that I found that I had that I've decided to use. And we're going to charge the quartz crystal, okay? We're going to charge that after. I'm adding a piece of broken hematite ring also to just amp up with that protection vibe. That's not in the spell work. That is just purely on my own, what I was guided to do because I had a piece of it to use, all right? Okay, so the other one is mugwort. Mugwort is used for multiple things, and if you are pregnant, you think you might be pregnant, or nursing. Mugwort is dangerous for people with pregnancy. I'm not, so I'm going to use it. You can always alternate it with another herb that has an energy behind it that is similar to mugwort. I don't have one off the top of my head for you guys. I'll try to look one up and put it in the description box below, or write it over here when I'm editing. But mugwort can be used in many, many ways. And in this instance, we're going to use it with the intention set for amplifying energies, for fighting against fatigue, for boosting the energy within the body itself, okay? Now, the other thing that I'm going to do is I'm going to actually make a little black pouch, because I did not, and this is why I'm talking about the prep of it. I don't have a black pouch. It calls for a black pouch. I don't have one, but you can make one. It's very, very easy. I did have a clear white one, which I could have used, but I happen to have this felt roll that I bought ages ago from the Dollar Tree that I can just cut a few little squares out of and sew, because it's pretty easy for me to sew it. I'm not super skilled, but I'm at least somewhat savvy with sewing. So I'm gonna cut this up, and that's what I'm gonna do in 1 minute with you guys. And then I'm gonna pause the camera, go off camera, and then sew it all up together. And then I'll come back and actually do the actual spell work, okay? I also have, what is this called? Oh gosh, embroidery floss, black embroidery floss. I don't plan on using this to sew it all together, but I do plan on using it to tie it, to wrap around the top, because I'm not going to seal the top up. Then I have some of my go-tos when I'm doing spell work. I have my sandalwood and myrrh candle that I'm going to be lighting. I have some incense that is from Sacred Spirit Products. I will link this down below, that I bought from Salem. They do actually do online orders now only. You can't even get into their store. This incense is lotus incense for inner peace and outer harmony. So I'm going to use that to cleanse my space before I do the spell work. And that's all there is to it. I also have a couple of chants, and we'll talk about that afterwards, because I'm going to combine the ones that were prescribed in the actual book. And I'm going to cut this up right now on camera for you guys so you can see it. But sometimes the best spells are the simplest, and I genuinely believe that, because why go through so much? Why make it more complicated than it needs to be, okay? So I'm just taking this, I just opened it up, and I'm just going to fold this over, I don't know, I'm not even measuring, because I know I don't need a lot. But I'm just going to fold this over maybe an inch, probably about an inch. Again, I'm not measuring, I'm eyeballing it, because it's just for me. I'm not doing it for a client. If I was doing it for a client, I would probably be a bit more cautious about it. And I want this to be pretty small. Actually, I think I'm going to make it smaller than that, because I'm going to be carrying this on me. So I don't know if you can see where I folded it, but it's right here. And I'm just cutting a little small section off where it's folded, so that, and I'm going to cleanse everything after. I'm not even cutting straight. I don't care about that. It doesn't have to be perfect. There's no need. It just needs to line up so I can sew it. So this is what I ended up with. See, it's not straight. It doesn't matter. It doesn't have to be. There's no need for perfection. If you are a perfectionist, feel free to do that, but this is how I work. I'm not a perfectionist. So now that I've cut my little pouch, and what I'm going to do, because I folded it, all I have to do is sew along this end, this open end on this side. I don't know if you guys can see that. Right on this side, so that closed, and then I only have to sew 2 sections instead of 3, and I'm gonna leave this top part open at least a little bit. I may sew it a little bit. I'll let you guys know, and that's where I'm going to tie a tie around it to keep it closed so I can recharge it later on. So that's what I'm going to do right now. After I'm done this part, I'm going to go and meditate, because when I do my spell work, there's a couple of things that I haven't really gotten super into it with you guys, because I don't really share spell work, but I thought that this one might be a good one to share with you guys, because it doesn't hurt anybody, it's not against anybody, it's your own inner energy protecting yourself. So when I do my spell work, what I do is, and I learned this a long time ago, to take a bath, a spiritual bath, or take a shower. And we'll get into shower and bath magic another time. I'm probably gonna have to do 2 separate videos on those, but I wash everything, and including either standing on Epsom salt or bathing in Epsom salt to remove the energies that are inside that have been attached to me. And then I wear lots of protection energy, lots of things to keep me grounded. I also will either drink ginger tea or have a piece of ginger candy to help amplify my energies. I always light a candle. I always cleanse my space and cleanse my materials. And I always meditate before I really get into all of it to visualize what I'm going to be working on and setting that intention. You guys aren't going to watch all that. I will share with you a little bit of my cleansing the materials and a tiny bit of cleansing the space, but I'm not going to really get into all that with you. All right, I'm going to pause this, and then we're going to come back after I have sewn and meditated. I'll see you guys in a little bit. Welcome back, everybody. You just saw me cleanse, light my candle, cleanse the space with incense. The incense is still going because I will need to cleanse a little bit more as I'm going. And we're going to get into assembling this. So this is how the charm bag turned out. It's also, I have a piece of string I got to cut here, a piece of thread. It's all set. And the opening is very, very little. I don't know if you guys can actually see that. Yeah, I think you can. So the opening is very, very small. Now, I did take time and meditate on my intention that I was setting, and I called in my guides and my spirits and the people that I'm, the entities that I'm working with for this specific situation. You need to do what resonates for you. I'm not going to share anything about that. But what it does talk about in both spells, what the very first thing to do is ground, center, and cleanse your materials, okay? So that is very, very basic things of what to do with spell work. You need to make sure you're doing those kinds of things so you're not using up your own energy. I didn't go over all that because I did do a video on grounding and centering before, and I don't need to share every little detail that we're doing. This video would be 2 hours long. So over here I have my notes about that I took from the book of what I'm going to be doing and how I'm going to do this. As I said, there was a chant that it went over that each one has, but I'm going to shift it a little bit because there is an energy that is a little bit different than what I'm trying to work with, okay? I'm going to read the spells to you as they are verbatim in the book. Verbatim means word for word, and then we'll get into how I'm doing it, okay? So for defending your energy from being drained, that's the quartz crystal one. When your energy is being siphoned off, the first signs are usually physical. Fatigue, slowing down, and a general dull feeling can all suggest a loss of essential energy, either to others leeching it or by the energy leaking in general. This spell can help you guard your energy from interference and loss. You need a clear quartz crystal. First step is to cleanse the crystal, center and ground yourself, hold the stone, and draw energy up from the ground and let it flow down your arms and into your hands, okay? And then it says, and I'm not going to do this one verbatim, I am going to change this up a little bit, but this is what the spell says, just so you guys know what the original spell called for. Quartz with your endless power and energy, support my energy, defend it from being stolen or lost. Okay, so that's what the original spell says, and then it says carry the stone with you, and you could do any kind of clear quartz. It could be any kind of jewelry that I've talked about before in the past that is clear quartz. Okay, so that's step one. Step two is the bag with the mugwort. I'm going to put the quartz in here as well, and I have the hematite also. And then again, for what to do, the mugwort is a traditional herb to use against fatigue. Quick and easy charm bag calls on its energy to help fight weariness and lethargy. So this one, you need the mugwort and a small black pouch. Why black? Black is protective, okay? Black is protective. Notice all the crystals I wear that are black. Black has protective energy. I also tend to be drawn to black clothing, which is interesting. So first step is ground and center, and then this is what the instructions are for the incantation. Hold your hand over the mugwort and say, creature of earth, I charge you to defend me from exhaustion and to ensure my energy is always high to guard against fatigue. And then the next page says, put the mugwort into the black pouch and tie it shut. Carry the pouch of mugwort with you, and for extra zing, combine the two spells. Now, there's another thing that that the next spell recommends, which is not about personal protection specifically. It's about safety in a medical procedure, but they do talk about using a rune and putting a rune in your workings, and this rune I feel would suit very well to this, so I am going to draw a rune onto the bag afterwards, and the rune is called Thurazaz. I can never say them right. Thurazaz. The rune of protection is overcoming obstacles on the part of your body that's a song. I will be drawing a rune on this too, and I got that idea from the very next spell, and it does talk about the rune of protection, and it talks about being protected. So I'll talk about that afterwards. And I have some anointing oil that I'm going to add to this as well. Again, all little extra things that you don't need to do, but stuff that I've decided to combine together. So how are we going to get through this? So first of all, I have my two crystals, right? These crystals are meant for absorbing and giving me support for defending my energy. Now, I'm not going to word it the same way because it says quartz with your endless power and energy, support my energy, defend it from being stolen or lost. I just want to ask these two crystals to support me. That's it. Support my energy. I don't even want to talk about defending it from being stolen, because then you're putting it out there that it could be stolen. And when you're working with spell work, not to criticize this author because I really love this author, but when you're working with spell work, you really have to be careful with wording, because if you're saying that it could be stolen, then you're putting that out there, and it can get a little muddled is the best way to say it. So I'm going to hold this up. And this is what it looks like again. I have a quartz crystal and then a hematite crystal. And I'm going to center and ground myself. And I'm not actually going to say anything for this one except for protect my energy with your power. And that's all I'm going to say. Protect my energy. Now, I'm doing this as many times until I feel that the crystals have been charged. And the way that I do it is that they feel warm. They start to tingle, and I feel something in my hand. You could do it just 3 times. You could do it 9 times. You could do it however many times resonates with you, okay? And if you can feel the energy, that's awesome. That's awesome. But I'm doing it until I feel that energy fill up. The next one is the mugwort. And it says, creature of earth, I charge you to defend me from exhaustion to ensure my energy is always high and guard against fatigue. Well, guarding against fatigue is, again, putting it out there that you can be fatigued. So I don't really want to say that. What I am going to do, and because it's such a small pouch, I'm going to just hold my hand over it and set the intention to defend me and keep my energy high, is what I'm setting the intention for. And I'm actually kind of coming up with this as I'm going along because that's what feels right. That's how I do my spell work a lot, unless if I have a super, super strong one that I've already created. Okay, and then once that's done, it needs to go into the pouch, which is going to be a little tricky. Okay. So I'm using the same spoon I used in my, oh, you guys haven't seen that other spell video yet. I'm using the tiny, tiny teaspoon that I got from, where did I get it from? Tame Wild, one of the boxes that I got from it. And I did do a video about that. So I'm just pushing it down so it's really far down. You can't even see it, but you saw me put it in it. But it's I'm pushing it far down. I'm going to add the 2 crystals because I don't want to overfill it. And then I'm going to do one more smaller scoop and charge it again. Sure, my energy is always high and defend me. Okay. And I'm doing it the way that it mentioned in the book, which is holding your hand over it and picturing it going down your arms for both ways. That is actually a great way to describe how to charge anything. You're picturing it coming up through your feet from the ground, or you can also picture it coming in through your crown chakra. Either way, it needs to come from somewhere. If it's coming from your crown chakra, it needs to come from universe and your guides. If it's coming from your feet, it's coming from the earth. Never do spell work ungrounded or pulling energy from yourself instead of universe or beings or the earth, because what will happen is, first of all, it'll exhaust you and it won't be strong enough. There's energies out there in the world that are so much stronger than us that can help, positive energies. And that's why it's important to set that intention ahead of time and work with your guides. So now it's pretty full. And I could squish a little bit more in there, but I'm not going to. I'm going to actually start to seal this up. If you're wondering what the other crystal was that I had on the table, I usually will do spell work. I mean, we're in my kitchen right now. I don't typically do spell work in my kitchen, but because we're filming, I don't have the best setup to do it in my office. I usually do it on my altar. This is a smoky quartz for protection and energy. Okay, so now that this is done, I'm just going to take, if I can pick it up, these nails need to be redone. Okay, so now I have some of this thread and I'm just going to run it through some of the smoke. I don't know if you can see that I'm doing that. I'm cleansing it with the smoke and I'm going to just wrap it around. And I've never done this before. I literally made this spell up right before. So I'm wrapping it around, okay? I don't know, hopefully you guys can see that. All right, and then I'm gonna just tie it off in a knot. And when it's time to recharge this, meaning adding more. So I've tied it really tiny. And I'm gonna do 2 knots. I'm gonna go in when it's time to open it back up again with a seam ripper and pull. Hold on, sorry guys. I'm having trouble tying knots with my long nails here. There we go. Okay. All right, so now there's that. What I'll do is I'll come in with a seam ripper and cut that out. And so that way it, and that's why I cleansed these too, because I knew I was going to be cutting. So I'll cut it out so that way I'll be able to open it back up again, then I'll tie it back up again. Okay? Now I'm going to show you the rune to draw on here for protection, and I'm going to go get my protection oil. I will be back in one quick moment. Okay, so we're going to draw on the rune next. And I went and I have a silver Sharpie marker. You can embroider it if you like. I am not good at that. I can sew, but I'm not good at actually like embroidering a design onto something. So I don't do that. So this is the rune Thuraz. It's the rune of protection and overcoming obstacles. And as I'm putting this on here, I do want to cleanse this to make sure it's not bad. It's not negative energy. I am protected. My body, my spirit. Oh, this might not work. My body and my spirit is protected. Okay, so this kind of looks like Thor's hammer. It didn't come out great, but that's okay. It's still in there. You can't even really see it, which is fine. You could do it with a black marker. I'll show you what it looks like in the book. Hold on. I'll draw it on my notebook so that you can actually see it backwards. So it's not mirrored. Okay, so this, it looks basically like that. It kind of looks like a P. That's backwards, that's mirrored. But it looks like a P, okay, with a tail on the top. So there's that, and then my last thing is my protection oil. This is called Protection 5. I got it from Conjured Cardia. I will link her channel and her website, and all I'm going to do is anoint with one drop. Protect my energy. Keep me sealed and shielded at all times. And that's it. And then I will continue to anoint once a week or once a month, depending on how I feel with that. And I will also sit and meditate holding this to charge it up a little bit more, and I'll probably leave it on my altar as well. And that is all there is to this one. I will let you guys know. Oh, see, this is exactly why I have a cover on this. And I cleaned this counter, so I don't know what that was. Some kind of oil. So I will let you guys know how this goes, and if I feel like there's any kind of a difference in it. I'm sure there will be. The reason why I made it so small is because I'm going to be tucking it into things like my bra or like my waistline, because I don't always have pockets. I need to keep it on my person at all times. So, and I'll slip it under my pillow when I'm sleeping, and it is meant to enhance my protection. I hope you guys like this. Let me know what you think. Again, if you are pregnant, Mugwort is not for you. If you are breastfeeding, Mugwort is not for you. Maybe just do the crystal part for now. And I will look up into seeing if I can find a good alternative. Rosemary might be good, but rosemary isn't good for fighting fatigue that I know of. I'll have to look up to see what else can fight fatigue. That's it for today, and I'll see you guys all in the next video. Bye.